There is a tower in the desert that was once the tallest thing humans ever built. It still stands, but standing is not the same as living. This is the story of a city that tried to outrun time, and what happens when time catches up. Dubai rose from sand. 50 years ago, there was almost nothing there. A fishing village, a trading post, heat and silence. Then oil was found nearby. Not in Dubai itself, but close enough. The region changed, money arrived, and with money came ambition. The leaders of this small emirate made a decision. They would not depend on oil. Oil runs out. Instead, they would build something else. A city so spectacular that the world would have no choice but to come. Tourism, real estate, finance, luxury. The plan was simple. Create a destination, make it impossible to ignore. Let the money flow in forever. For decades, it worked. Towers climbed higher than anywhere else on Earth. Islands were carved into the sea in the shape of palm trees. Shopping centers stretched larger than some towns. Hotels offered rooms that cost more per night than most people earn in a month. The world watched. The word came. The word spent. Dubai became a symbol, not of a place, but of an idea. The idea that enough ambition, enough money, enough spectacle could defeat geography, history, even logic itself. A city built on willpower alone. But symbols are fragile things. They require belief, and belief requires maintenance. The first cracks were small, easy to miss if you were not looking. Hotel occupancy began to slip. Not dramatically, but just enough that managers noticed empty breakfast buffet. Restaurants that once required reservations now welcomed walk-ins on busy nights. Retail workers stood in luxury stores with nothing to do. The crowds were still there, but they were thinner, quieter, spending less. The official numbers told a different story. Record visitors, the reports claimed. Growth continuing. But the numbers counted everyone who passed through the airport. Layovers, transit passengers, people who never left the terminal. The real count, the people who actually stayed and spent, that number was harder to find. Perhaps because it was harder to celebrate. The tourists who once came with open wallets began to change. Economic troubles in Europe, sanctions against wealthy buyers from certain countries, currency controls making it difficult to move money across borders. The fountain of foreign spending that Dubai depended on began to slow. Not stop, slow. Which is almost worse. A slow decline is easy to deny. Then came competition. For years, Dubai had something rare. It was the only place in the region offering what it offered. Shopping, entertainment, a certain kind of freedom. Neighbors were more conservative, less developed. Dubai had the market to itself. That changed. Saudi Arabia began building its own attractions. Massive entertainment projects. Shopping destinations designed to keep Saudi money at home instead of flowing to Dubai. Abu Dhabi positioned itself as a more refined alternative. Qatar invested billions. The monopoly ended, and monopolies once broken rarely return. The real estate market told its own story. Dubai had built and built, adding towers and communities faster than people arrived to fill them. Entire neighborhoods now sit with more empty windows than occupied ones. Rental yields fell. Investors who bought, expecting constant appreciation, found themselves trapped. Some walked away with deposits rather than complete purchases, on properties worth less than they had agreed to pay. That is not confidence, that is retreat. The debt accumulated quietly. Building requires borrowing. Dubai borrowed heavily against a future of permanent growth. When growth slows, debt does not. It sits there, accumulating interest, demanding payment regardless of how many hotel rooms stay dark. There is a deeper layer beneath all of this, a foundation most visitors never see. Dubai's towers were not built by the people who live in them. They were built by workers brought from far away, men who arrived with promises of good wages and decent conditions, men who found something else entirely. Passports taken, contracts changed, payments delayed or denied. A system designed to extract labor while offering little in return. This is not a secret. Reports have documented it for years. But the city was too bright, too successful, too impressive for most to look closely. The uncomfortable truth was easier to ignore when the spectacle was working. When hotel lobbies buzzed and shopping bags filled and cranes swung across the skyline. Now the spectacle is quieter, and quieter spectacles invite harder questions. The workers still come. The buses still roll to labor camps at the edge of the city. The system continues, but it continues in a place that can no longer hide its contradictions behind endless growth. A city that promised opportunity for everyone has always run on the labor of people with almost none. What remains now is maintenance. The maintenance of image, the maintenance of belief. Dubai spends enormous sums on marketing. Influencers are paid to post. Events are staged. The message is constant. Everything is fine. Growth continues. The dream is alive. But maintenance is not momentum. A holding position is not advancement. And the world has grown suspicious of cities that advertise too loudly. The towers still stand. The malls still open their doors. The beaches still curve along man-made shorelines. Nothing has collapsed. Nothing dramatically has occurred. That is not how these things usually work. Decline is quieter than collapse. It is empty tables where crowds once gathered. It is discount on rooms that once sold at premium. It is workers leaving because wages no longer justify the distance from home. It is investors quietly selling and not returning. It is the slow leak of confidence that no marketing budget can fully repair. Dubai built itself on a promise. The promise that this place was different. That the old rules of economics, of limits, of sustainability did not apply here. That ambition alone could sustain a city in the desert forever. Perhaps it was always a question of time. Every city built on external money eventually faces the moment when money looks elsewhere. Every economy dependent on perception eventually meets a reality it cannot advertise away. The cranes still dot the skyline. Some have not moved in months. New projects are announced with ceremony and renderings. Many will never break ground. The announcements serve a purpose. They maintain the story. They suggest a future that might not arrive. In 50 years, Dubai transformed sand into glass and steel. It built moments that seemed to mock the very idea of limitation. It convinced the world that a city could be willed into existence through sheer audacity. Now it faces a different challenge, the challenge of what comes after the building stops, after the crowds thin, after the belief begins to fade. The tallest tower still catches the sun each morning. It still glitters against the desert sky, but glittering is not the same as thriving, and height is not the same as permanence. History is patient. It has seen cities rise before. It knows what comes next, not with drama, not with fire, but with silence, with empty rooms, with questions that no longer have convincing answers. The desert was here first. It will be here last. It is simply waiting.